You're tuned into Lucid Waking on A to Zen.fm and beyond. This is Empowerment Radio, taking you through the journey of self-discovery and mindful living. Does day-to-day living seem to get you down? Life just doesn't seem to go your way? Join me, RevShar, every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern to unravel the knot of living. Good evening, everybody. I'm here. It's Tuesday night. I'm RevShar, coming to you live from Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, if you miss the live broadcast, you can always tune in and get any of the past shows for last 2 years over at the archives at www.zen.fm. If you don't know by now, you're turned in to Lucid Waking. And I have a guest tonight. Yay! We tried to have him on last week, but we had some technical difficulties, and tonight we have Michael P Burke joining us. I'm going to bring him in as soon as I tell you a real tidbit about next week's show and who Michael P Burke is. Okay, to jump ahead to next week, just to put it on your calendar, I got to dive into judgment. I have a judgment bone to pick. Not really. But I want to get into it because we had a really fabulous discussion about it last Sunday at chapel. So next week I'm going to dedicate the show to thoughts on judgment and how beautiful judgment can be in the unfolding process. So you want to make sure you tune in next week to hear that. Tonight I'm so glad with us because I have Michael P Burke on with me. And I came across Michael through Facebook. Isn't Facebook a wonderful thing? And he just has these wonderful, inspiring posts, and somebody sent me. I think I got introduced to him through his vlog. I think somebody sent me, because you can share things, right? So I think somebody shared this real cute video blog that he did, and
I bet you it was Jomo.
It probably was my pal Jomo. What a sweet potato that boy is. Yeah. That's Michael Burke, by the way. Welcome him onto the show. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
I didn't even really get to say who you are. He's this guy I met on Facebook, who just happens to also be this wonderful artist and inspirational vlogger. I love that term, vlogger. It's just fun to say. And you've been inspiring me for probably, 2 years, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while.
Likewise.
So tell the world who you are. You know better than I do.
I am what I am. You're right.
I am burning bush.
I am a vlogger, a children's book illustrator, writer. I'm a Facebook poster. I'm forever a child. That's about it in a nutshell. Oh, and I'm an artist. I also paint. Well, we're all artists, but I paint and I also teach painting. But yeah, that's about it.
It's pretty awesome, too. I swear I would take your class if I was up there. My daughter teaches art and is an artist.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
We live in the age of the artist. I always say that I don't think people really realize that we live in the age of the artist. We say that because obviously we're creative beings and art has always been around, but never in history, if you really look at history, have we had a population where everybody is an artist, even if they don't know it in one form or another, whether it's video game design, whether it's arts and crafts. Most people play some kind of instrument. They do some kind of art. I mean, just about everybody's some kind of artistic endeavor, number one. And number two, no time in history have we been able to express and share our artwork with the entire world thanks to the Internet. So it's an amazing thing. Anybody anywhere in the world can do some kind of artistic endeavor and just share it with billions. It's amazing. We truly live in the age of the artist, I feel. It's an amazing time for that, among other reasons. So it's all
well, it kind of ties into it all, doesn't it? I have been thinking until since I brought my daughter into the world. because she picked up a pencil and started drawing at the age of 18 months, and she hasn't stopped, and she's really phenomenal. And, I could say I was just biased, but she really is phenomenal. No,
We
really.
used to we used to doodle all over Mother's. Me and my twin brother, he's an artist too. We used to doodle all over her bills and all of her paperwork. So
Yeah.
we learned really quickly to go get us paper and crayons and stuff because we were covered in that house with artwork when we were really young.
Yeah, and my daughter, when she was like 6, she took her drawings door to door trying to sell them for a quarter a piece.
The entrepreneur, that early. Wow.
She's been making money with her art her whole life. At college, she couldn't come up with a job. She couldn't get a job at college, so she came up with tutoring art students.
Oh, wonderful! It's
She
a good fallback.
She got paid for doing what she does naturally.
Wonderful.
It was awesome.
Wonderful.
Anyway, so I totally agree with that statement, and that's why I kind of rambled on about it. But I have an artist, and she's phenomenal. And I'm an artist, and Mother was an artist, and her other grandmother was an artist. So I don't know who knows?
Well, we're creative beings by nature. A lot of people actually don't believe they're creative, and it's not true. I mean,
I know.
even when they're telling you that, they're being really over dramatic in the telling of that belief, which just shows creativity right there, right? When someone's saying, "Oh, I don't have an artistic bone in my whole body," well, you just said something very creative right there.
Exactly.
You activated and you built a story. That's creative. It's in our nature. We create without even knowing. We're creative beings, and it's amazing. It's amazing stuff.
We really lose sight of that, We do.
Mhm.
I tell my congregation on a regular basis, you have no idea how powerful you are because you're so wrapped up in what you think you aren't. And yet it takes the power of your being to have that very thought that you're not powerful.
We
And
are
they kind of
powerful
turn their head.
beyond belief. We are powerful beyond belief, and that's why I say sometimes belief can be limiting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. So now, let me ask you a personal question, if I may.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so since I've known you, you've been kind of what I call plugged in. Okay, so you have thoughts that are beyond just your personal identity. So you're what I call part of the expansive mindset. When did you come in that way, or did you have? I hate to use the term awakening, but sometimes it fits. Did you have some kind of life event that created a shift in consciousness? Was it gradual? Tell me your story. How'd you get to where you are?
It's a pretty long story, but I'll try to give you a rough idea of how it unfolded. Really, life, it's all a series of these shifts and awakenings, really, if you think about it. So, I would say that, though, from an early age, I was definitely pulling something in out of myself. It would just come to me. I was more open. I think it helps to keep that child at heart kind of way of being. When you're like that and comfortable in your own shell, comfortable in your own life, comfortable just in general, and very relaxed and accepting of what is going on around you, then you tend to be very in tune and you pull things in. And so I think I was always like that, but definitely as I got, as most of us do, into the teens, I started to feel the trauma of conditioning, like most of us do.
Yeah.
For pretty everybody, the teens is a pretty rocky period. And I think that's where I, for the first time, really delved deep into the mind, and not in a good way, in an ego type of way, and that causes problems. So it's a combination of conditioning and ego and belief and ideas and stories caused a lot of suffering in my teens and into my early 20s. And then I would say I wouldn't call it an awakening, but my first shock, I guess you would say, was just the stories that I had built up. I had gotten deep into depression. There's a lot of teenagers. But mine was so deep, I actually did try to commit suicide. And so you can't get any darker than that, obviously.
No, you can't. Hey, I tried 3 times.
Well, there you go. So you know. So
Yeah.
it's as dark as you get. And so I had gone from this natural state of this child state of being open to the universe and loving everything to the story of hating myself based on nothing really, just conditioning and my own ideas. So I went from just hating the sight of myself, hating myself completely in every way, and to the point where I really didn't want to go. And universe spelled with Y-O-U at the beginning of universe, meaning myself. Obviously, it wasn't the right time because I did everything I could to do it right, but the universe not only pulled me out of the fire that time, but 11 times in my life I should have left here, and miraculously was kept around. So I know I'm here for a reason. That also helps reinforce of how many times I should have already passed on. So I know I'm here for a reason, and I'm really glad to be here. So that was the major, I guess you could call it a type of shift, where we're so dark, and I tried to do that, and the universe said, nope, not yet. So then something in me just switched, kind of. It was like a switch got flipped. Mm-hmm. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to start to myself. And enough of all this. I'm going to change it all. And I actually, for my own sake, let go of those people in my life that weren't serving me, and everything that wasn't serving me. I just a complete different life change. And I was married at the time, so I decided it was a hard thing to do, but I decided it was time to move on. So I got a divorce. I left all of my friends at that time that weren't really serving me and weren't really healthy for me, as much as I did care for them. So it was a major, it was in my early 20s. It was a major life change, and I decided on a path to start opening up to life again and love myself, and I committed to that. It was a real commitment to be happy, and it's very important when we see people struggling. I always tell them you have to commit to being happy.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Sorry about that. That's my dog. And usually the dog keeper's here, and he's not here.
Oh, okay.
So forgive me. She's going to be barking.
So happiness is definitely a choice, I say, or at least it starts with a real choice. And the choice has to be made if you really want to go that direction. But and from there, it'll unfold as it should in the time that it should. So from there, that was probably my first real shifting of my life. And at first, it was a bit felt as forced, but I would actually purposely look in the mirror and say, "I love you," and start to do things for myself, treat myself. Basically start a love affair with myself and wine and dine myself and do things that made myself happy and start to follow my dreams. Start to dive into art and all kinds of other things. And then I started to attract amazing people, a whole different group of people than I did before. I started to really do love myself. Now I look back, it's been such a long time now. Within a few years of that, I really did fully love myself. And once you really go that way, going back now, I couldn't imagine. It's so funny to look back to think that I hated myself because I love myself, or at least this character. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with life. It seems funny that how we get into such dark places, and it's really all just make believe. It's just stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We all have we'll go through it.
There has to be an animal outside.
I could imagine how impossible I hate myself. Working and hate life. There's long ago, at least a decade and a half ago, I left all hate, whether it be for myself or other people or beings, even those that do, quite a lot of harm. I have no hate for anybody anymore. I just have love. And from there, once I started that path, that's when a series of really more profound awakenings started to happening. And I'd say about 3-4 years ago, just, probably before you and I crossed paths is when once I started to realize and understand that I actually am on a spiritual path, that life is a spiritual journey. That's when then the awakenings just, for lack of better words, started to happen more profound and more frequently. And really, they just come all the time. That's just part of the thing now, right? So I don't give any awakening or any one thing too much importance. I let it all come in, and I already know that I'm on the path. So I don't let my mind jazz it up too much and build more stories about it. So they do come. That's just life. And so life is full of awakenings. Life is an awakening.
Yeah. Life itself is the awakening.
It's the ultimate awakening. It's the ultimate awakening.
I think we get hung up on, after some mystical experience, we think life is supposed to be, suddenly we turn into some great guru or something, but I haven't found that to be true yet.
No, well, we all really are gurus. We just don't know it, but we always are. If you look at children, it's just we get conditioned and traumatized by society and ourselves, our own minds, that we pull away from that. But if you look at children, when we're closest to our real state, when we first come in closest to our source state, children are gurus, right? They're amazing. Exactly. And so it's only when we start to pull away from that. So really, for me, and some people might resonate with this, I see it as a returning. When we start having our adult awakenings, really, it's really just returning back to that original state that when we came into this world before we got ideas in our head.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's how I was meaning the term guru. I see all of life as guru, but we have this conditioning of what a guru looks like or what a spiritual leader looks like. And so many people hold this idea and chase this idea of what it is, and it's right in front of them. It's the child, it's the everywhere, and yet they're chasing some attainment. And yet the guru is everywhere. It's really, it's fascinating.
What's that saying? What you're searching for is where you're searching from?
Yeah.
I think Muji said that, or one of his, masters said that. But yeah, what you're searching for is where you're searching from.
It's where you're searching from. Exactly. And as soon as you realize that, you just kind of smile, Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist is all about that. Leaving home to find the treasure that's at home,
Exactly.
And halfway through it, I started getting really, not through the book, but through my own journey of that. I kept moving farther and farther away from the actual place looking for something, and I started cracking up.
We all do that. We see that in spirituality. When they first get into spirituality, they really don't realize moving further away from the more they get ideas in their head, and they said, because you've probably seen it, but luckily I also see a change in time, so it's nice to see that it does change. When we see people first get into spirituality, reading the books and finding certain masters and gurus, they start getting ideas in their head, and they start bickering about what the truth of spirituality is, and they start, for a short while, they start to get kind of further away from what, but luckily, which is the magic of existence, we do see in time, we do come back again. After we start to let go of some of those ideas, we start to come back. And
I call it the shaking of the tree.
Yeah.
We step in and the tree gets shook, and all the dead leaves and stuff fall off and make room for new growth. It's kind of a shaking up of the psyche and the ego. You gotta look and see
it. Those thoughts that were weighing us down.
Yeah. I need to take a station ID. Don't go away. Don't hit anything. And I'll try to hit the right buttons on this, and I'll be right back right after this message.
Lucid Waking explores consciousness with fascinating guests such as Stan Tenen, Thomas Campbell, and Rasha. We've also spoken with Keith Wilson, Howard Falco, and Doc Barnum, and many, many more, with more to come. Live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific at A2Zen.fm and syndicated on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
Hey, this is RevShar coming to you live from Corpus Christi, Texas. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, you can find me here. Or, if you missed the live broadcast, you can find me in the archives over at www.a2zen.fm. Just hit the archives, the pod room button, and look for RevShar or look for Lucid Waking. You can't miss me. You can also catch me on iTunes, Dream 7 Visions Radio Network, both online and Boston AM Radio. We are syndicated on 40 platforms now. Yeehaw! So it's really hard to miss us. In fact, if you have the Stitchers app in one of those brand new fancy cars, you can actually be listening to this show on the road. How is that? We are in cars now. I'm so excited. Next week, I'm talking about judgment. Tonight, I'm having a really fun, lighthearted discussion about whatever it is with Michael P Burke, creative life experiencer, inspirational vlogger, children's book author, and artist. Are you still with me? Did you fall away? Hello?
Hello.
Okay.
We had a bad connection. You lost me for a while. I don't know if you knew that. I think you went to. Yeah, you lost me for a while.
Oops.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's okay. You're here now.
I'm here
You're
now.
here now. Yeah. So when did you start writing children's books?
That was, let's see, that would have been about 5-6 years ago. It started actually with a book that I still haven't finished, that I've been working on for probably 13 years, called Flower and the Giant. That's my opus, if you will, for children's books. But I kind of put it aside because it is so ambitious and large. I put it aside to at least get the career going first. So I put it aside and did two books. So I've got 2 books under my belt. Now I'm back working on that one, and there's a list of other books, ideas, just piling. I probably won't finish them in my lifetime, but I'll do the best. But you know, as an artist, once you open the gates to creativity, they just start flooding in. And it's just inspiration.
I know. I have notebooks full too.
Yeah, there you go. And it also get back to saying about where I get some of this from. It's also with spirituality. When we're on a spiritual path, where I get a lot of these things when I post and blog, it just starts flooding in. When you start open up to the universe, it just comes in. Mm-hmm. And a lot of time when I'm blogging or posting, I haven't planned anything that I'm saying. I'm just letting it come in. So it's not even me, really. It's just the universe reminding us what we already know, really.
Yeah, I see, and I call that the natural flow.
Yeah.
And I usually dive into that, on the show, Sundays, anytime I'm with a client. I try to do it during my daily life, too. It's I can't claim 24/7 yet. But falling into that flow is, and I really think that the people that I deal with down here in South Texas have this idea that if their ego is recognize what it really is, they will cease to have a personality and will become robotic, non-emotional creatures. And have found the exact opposite to be true. The freedom in the expression of emoting without all those labels and connotations and expectations and stories of what that's supposed to be is elating to me, And when I can see other people do it,
Well, that whole story, what you said of how they see that's a story of itself. That already screams of the mind right there, that you be this and you'll be that if you let go of the ego. That's the ego talking. The ego is the one, we're going to be this and that, and it's got all these ideas already. No, when you let it go, we have the characters. It's not like you get rid of it completely. Maybe some do, but most, even the greatest gurus, still have a little bit of ego, a little bit of mind in there.
yeah.
It's just a matter of not taking it too seriously, not letting it run the show, not letting it hold on to it or any ideas so tightly that we become rigid. When we loosen up and open up to everything, the magic of existence that's around us at all times, at all times. And the more we do that, and the more we return to stillness, I find, and I'm sure you do too, that in time the ego will, the mind will start to cooperate a little more. It will start to fill out a little more, and we don't become, it's funny, really it's quite the reverse. When we have ego, we are robotic. We are, as my brother would say, become human doings instead of human beings, right?
Exactly.
So it's quite the opposite. When you open up to the universe, you become the child again. You start to see wonder in everything. You start to find humor in things, that, because life is hilarious.
It's absurd. It's such a cartoon.
It is, and it's a cartoon at all times, and it's hilarious. We see it in nature, we see it in ourselves, and it's wonderful if we don't take it too seriously and don't take our characters too seriously, i.e. our egos. And, like I have this character, Michael P Burke. I know it's not really me. I don't hate it, but I don't take it seriously. I know it's not my true thing. It can't be the true me because it's always changing. It's been changing since I was a child, and it will continue to change. So that which changes is our true state, obviously. But we don't have to hate it. We can enjoy it and play with it. And the more we don't take it seriously, the more fun life is, and the more gratitude we have. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here with you and your listeners, but I'm sure you all know.
Oh, no, they love hearing this stuff. They love hearing it from others besides just me.
Yes, it's that.
They get tired of my voice. They hear me all the time.
Me too. I get tired of hearing my own voice, so I feel you on that. But it's a wonderful magic item, and when we open up to it and don't take our egos and minds so seriously. The key to that too is when people, just now that it popped in my head, I always like to also say when people get into spirituality and they start to learn about, how or understand how the mind and ego works, they start to make it the enemy, and that's another game of the mind you want to have to learn. And I talk about it in some of my vlogs because that's actually the mind doing that. It's actually the mind trying to get a reaction. So if it can't get you to love it, it'll get you to hate it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
At least by it exists. It wants to exist. It fears the unknown. So don't make the mind. A lot of people, when they first start really getting deep into spirituality, start, the ego this and the ego that and the mind this, and they make it the enemy. Don't make it the enemy. It's not the enemy. It's just another part of this strange, paradoxical existence in this holographic experience.
And if you think you need to do anything, just become aware of what's there.
Actually, I always say the answer to everything is do nothing, actually.
Yeah.
Do nothing.
Mine is breathe. My congregation and my clients laugh because they know if they're going to come to me with a question or anything, I usually just let them and go, breathe. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. Just breathe. And of course, most of the time, it's not what they want to hear. They want some solution. They want some fix. But if you just breathe.
Exactly. And that's the mind, of course. It wants answers. It needs answers. It's afraid. It needs to play everything and control everything. But if you just chill out and let life unfold, because life continues to unfold whether we worry about it or not. It really will. It unfolds all by itself. And,
Isn't that amazing? All on its own. It doesn't need us to do a damn thing.
Not one thing. No. I mean, we can go ahead and try and suffer while the show's going on. That's all we're really doing is we're suffering while the show's going on. But if we stop our own mind chatter and stop the suffering, what a show, what an experience to witness all this is. Even the darker aspects. If we go of judgment of it, it's amazing. All of this, just that it exists and how it's unfolding. It's absolutely, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So magical.
All I can say is ditto.
I see Now, this is an idea because I try not to grab on ideas, but for me, it's more of a feeling of how, because I don't really know it. I don't know what's going on here. Your guess is as good as mine. I know it's fantastical. You don't have to be a genius to see this is all pretty damn fantastic. But to me, it feels like, if you want to call it consciousness, if you want to call it God, or whatever you want to call it, but something, I think of it more as consciousness, but to me, it feels like consciousness expressing itself, exploring itself, discovering itself, and then returning into itself. So it's like it breaks into trillions of pieces, which is the universe, in every kind of thing you can imagine, just to experience all of these things, to be an ant, to be a tree, to be a cloud, a person, to be all these things, to be a chemical, to be all these things, because it's all moving in unison, even science. You've probably noticed that science, especially quantum science, and spirituality, the gap between them is shortening really fast. Scientists will become really spiritual really fast, and they're becoming quite blended together, because once you start to, even the science, they really start looking into molecules and how the universe is actually working, they start to realize, wow, actually something purposeful is happening here. This isn't random.
No.
There's patterns in everything.
There's patterns in the matrix.
Exactly. It is. It's a holographic funhouse, and it's all moving and shifting. When we hear spirituality, we are one. We really are one. The more we even look the more we look within ourselves, but even the more we just look at with a microscope, we start to see that everything is one. It's all part of the same thing.
You lose the distance. You lose the separation.
Yeah, exactly. There's no separation.
Yeah, and I found that when that happened for the first time for me, it's because it's kind of been a rippling pattern. The first time it happened, it shook the ego loose. You know what I mean? It lost some of its footing in what it thought it was, and what happened over time was this curiosity developed. That childlike kind of curiosity. Well, who is this that thinks it's this? And just what is this that's happening, and where is it, and all? And as soon as I started asking those questions, the I got all funky with itself and decided, well, I'm going to decide who I am. Well, the exact opposite happened.
That's the sneakiness. That's the sneakiness of the mind. Even the mind will jump on spirituality and say, yeah, okay, let's do this. But it wants to start to define everything and control everything. And so that's okay. That's part of the process. But
well, in the beginning, it was a constant definition. Constant. And now there's less and less definition. It's losing the distinction of itself.
Lovely.
It's awesome.
It's beautiful. It's nice when you can just let it all be and not have to have the answers, eh?
Exactly. What answers?
It's so freeing.
The answers lie in the questions, so quit asking questions.
There's a huge freedom in saying and knowing and being comfortable with, I don't know. And I don't know, and I'm cool with that. I don't need to know what all this is. It's phenomenal. That's all I know, and that's wonderful. I don't need to know where we're going to be tomorrow. I don't need to know what the reason is for all this. Does it have to have a reason? How about just wonder at the spectacle of it all?
You don't need to have a purpose?
Yeah, why does it? How about the purpose is just to exist? Look how gorgeous this universe is. Does it have to have a purpose more than how gorgeous it is?
I know. What more purpose is there than to be alive?
I know. You look up at the clouds, they go, really? Do they need more of a purpose than what they're already doing and how they already look? I mean, look how gorgeous it is. Even human beings.
The flower is not trying to be a bush.
Exactly. It just is. We can learn so much from nature. It teaches us at all times in small ways and big ways. It's really the more we connect to nature. I talk about that a lot in my blogs too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got a lot of them that are out in nature.
Yeah, I've got over 300 bears, and I'd say probably 250 of them are out in nature by waterfalls and trees. Most
Yeah.
of the time.
That's why I like them.
It's teaching us all times. It's teaching us in every way if we really start to open up to it. It's amazing what a teach nature is. Everything we need is here for us. We are in heaven. I truly believe this is heaven. We're in heaven. This is heavenly. And the only reason it may not always feel heavenly is us. It's our own mind.
It's what we decide about it, right?
We think about it, and then we create the society with all this silliness going on, and this fighting and struggle and suffering. Where
you should be mad at this person, and we'll be mad at this person, and that person must go. And I think we just like to play.
And these delusions of lack, when we're in such abundance, there's enough space and food and medicines and teachers on this planet, if we use them properly, for everyone. For everyone, despite what the conditioning tells us, enough for everyone if utilized properly and in a state of brotherhood with each other and all the other living beings here. There's enough for everybody. We are in heaven here. You have to stand in awe of this planet. You look up and we see, I mean, think about it. Right now, physically, we're on this rock that's flying around this big ball of fire. We're flying around it right now as we're speaking, and we have this other little rock that's flying around the moon that's our own little nightlight. I mean, it's spectacular. This is spectacular stuff. It's amazing that people can condition themselves so much to think that life has no purpose and life is pointless and this is all just crap and this is a cesspool. This is heaven, my friends. This is magical beyond belief.
It is. It's amazing. I see energy patterns. It's just been there my whole life. I don't try to discount it or count it anymore. It's just there, right?
It's a wonderful thing to be able to see because that's what all this is. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and so and the more the ego lets go of it identifying with that persona. Oh, I'm the person that sees energy. The more is there to witness.
Yep.
I hope that makes sense. You know, I had to let go of the persona of that, but not the gift, to truly experience the gift and see the dance of energy and not put stories to it, not say, well, that energy equates to this and this energy equates to that, and 1 + 1 = 2. So when those two energy points come to, that's exhausting.
It's just enjoy the gift without the ego and grabbing the reins and trying to control the gift and define the gift.
Just watch it dance.
Exactly. And it's a wonderful gift because this is all, and again, we go back to science is even pointing this, which is why scientists are becoming so spiritual now, because they're realizing this is all vibration. It's all vibration. It's a holographic vibration universe. And with the discovery of the God particle and everything else, it's unbelievable. And before you know it, probably in 50 to 60 years, it'll be hard to see the separation between science and spirituality.
Oh, see, I totally agree. Do you think it'll be 50 years? Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's really hard to say.
I just made up a figure. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I need to take another station ID.
Sure.
I'll try not to lose you this time. Don't go away.
I'll
be right back right after this.
Lucid Waking explores consciousness with fascinating guests such as Dan Tenen, Thomas Campbell, and Rasha. We've also spoken with Keith Wilson, Howard Falco, and Doc Barnum, and many, many more, with more to come. Live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific at A2Zen.fm and syndicated on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
Good evening, everybody. You are listening to RevShar on Lucid Waking at A2Zen.fm. And tonight we have Michael P Burke on. We've been having a really nice conversation. And I want to talk just a little bit about your latest book because I read it and it's really cool. And I said this last week. Are you still with me? I didn't even check.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you're still there. I'm off in another world.
I'm the same way. You just get going, and yeah, I get you.
I read the little I read The Little Lost Balloon. What a really cute book. And I said this last week when we had you in the chat room, that to me, a really good children's book author is one that can engage the adult, so that the book is basically appealing to both the adult and the child. And it makes it really magical then when the parents can read to the children, because it really engages both of them. And that book does that. So my hat is off to you, kind sir, for tapping into that creative ability of yours and putting it to pen. And if you're listening, guys, it's called The Little Lost Balloon by Michael P Burke. And they can find it where?
At Luna Press, and that's spelled with two L's, so LLUMINA Press, luminapress.com.
And it's The Little Lost Balloon. Everybody will identify, with the story.
Now, this is probably not, a lot of authors would cringe when I go to this part, but I'm in it for a whole different reason. I would have absolutely loved if people hadn't bought the book. When you do that, you plant a tree, so there's another wonderful thing. Every book you buy, you plant a tree. However, not all of us can afford that. So if you can't afford to buy it, by all means, get it for free at Google Books, and you can read it for free. Just type in The Little Lost Balloon.
It's really, really sweet. I'm a sucker for good kids' books.
And I do want to address, because I really appreciate what you said, what you acknowledged, which you're the only one to really tell me that. That's why I appreciate it, about also being for adults, because one of the first of many pigeonholes I found, and when you get into, like any kind of career, anything in society, they try to pigeonhole you with conditions. With children's books, the first rule they always say is you have to pick an age. Because when I would say, no, I write them for children of all ages, that was like a no-no. They would always tell me, you can't say that, you can't do that. But that's truly what I write for, so I had to just say, fine, it's for 7-year-olds. But in truth, I write for children of all ages. I'm not picking one age. So it's nice to hear somebody like you see that and acknowledge that.
Well, I'm glad I can confirm that for you. Stay true to your voice, because it works. Of course, it does for all of us when we do that, And when you tap into that which inspires you and you use it to inspire others, it's almost like, white lightning. And it's beautiful. It's one of those beautiful, energetic dances. Do you have children, Michael?
No, I don't have any children. I would like to have children one day, but it just hasn't happened yet. But, whatever. I accept what is. But yeah, I love children, so if I can't have them right, then I'll write for them and illustrate for them. And that's a gift, a major gift in itself.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Hey, look, I had children for everybody. They're grown now. They give me. Actually, I have a great relationship with my kids, because I was a kid when I raised. But I read to them. That's why I was bringing it up, because I read to my children, and I know a lot of people who do. And that's why I'm giving myself the authority to say what I said. So there.
I bet you said that, and I keep that in mind, that the parents are reading it too. So all my books are just as much for the parents as they are for children. You might have noticed there's a lot of subtle little messages for the adults about environment and little things in there, the farm with all windmills, organic farms, just little things to the adults too, little messages. Also just, heartwarming things that for not only just the children, but things that adults might appreciate, just a little bit for everybody, because I am a child at heart, but I also live in an adult body, so I can I see from both perspectives. So, I write for both.
Yeah. Well, if you can write from the child within, I think then you touch it in everybody. It's awesome. Well, now, you also teach art classes, right?
Oh, yeah, I teach that, too. Kind of like your daughter, that's just kind of a fallback when I need some money. Yeah, it's great to fall back. And I do paint, but I prefer to teach. I really love to teach. Yeah. So, I have little private workshops in my studio at home. do, and I enjoy that as well. I really like teaching children as well. So I taught it, over 200 students to train. I grew up to 250 now, and big bulk of them have been children. So I love the wee ones.
Yay! I bring it up because something that I have noticed, and it could just be my own perspective, but you also mentioned earlier that you thought we were in an age of how did you put it? An age of creativity, where a lot of people were sharing the art.
Living in the age of the artist.
Yeah, the age of the artist. And one thing that I have noticed just in the small circle that I have here is, for instance, at chapel, more than half of the congregation members are artists.
And I bet you if you were to dig deeper, you would find that actually all of them are.
Well, they are, but they label themselves as artists. Let me put, professionally speaking.
Right, but I bet you if you go deeper, you'll find that some play the RevShar have been for like 20 years, but they're not calling themselves artists. You'll find that somebody's doing that for 30 years. You'll find, professionally, I hear what you're saying, but if you look even deeper, guess what? They're all artists.
Everybody's an artist.
They just don't see it that way. We don't see it that way these days.
See, you need to come down here and teach an artist class at my chapel.
That sounds lovely.
We would have a lot of fun. So now I want to get to your message to the world, and it's just something I ask all my guests. It's kind of a cheesy question, but we get some really interesting answers. So if you have something that you feel you're trying to get out into the world, besides what we've already talked about, or more along those lines, what would that be?
Well, that's easy, as I say it constantly. I'm a broken record. It's become my theme. I mean, maybe it'll be a different theme a few years from now. Who knows? Because I just let it come in. But I've really felt moved over the last few years, so I say it often. And that is, you are the master of your own experience. And so many people feel so disempowered these days, and they don't understand of just how free they actually are. They're even free to not even believe that they're free. That's how free they are. You're free to even to live in the delusion that you're not free. That's how free you are. But you are free at all times. You always have been, and you always will be free. Everything and anything else is illusion. And that is my biggest message to pass on to humanity, because when you realize how free we really are, life is magical. Life is magical. Right. And we really are. We're free any way you look at it, we're free. And I don't mean from our government or society. I'm not talking that kind of freedom. I'm talking a much deeper freedom. And because in every moment we are free to take whatever's happening to us any way we want to. It's all up to us of how we perceive it. You can't get any more free than that. Right?
Exactly. So, we're the only ones that create the prison and make ourselves prisoners within it.
And we're the only ones that can free us from those prisons. And we don't realize we're holding the key to our own prisons the whole time. It's in our hand. We're going, let us out, and it's in our hand. We're waving the key. We're waving the key, and everybody going, let us out. And they're going, buddy, it's you. Just step out. That's all you got to do, just step out.
Just the door.
Total illusion. But yeah, we're free at all times. Even if something, here's a bit of a darker, let's just say there's a pessimist out there listening to me, and they really want to say, well, what about this, right? Let's just talk to that for a second. I heard, and I'm sure it was true, I heard of a story of a woman, just to get a little dark here for a minute, who unfortunately was raped. And she was a very spiritual person, and she said that while it was happening, and I'm not saying that a woman did this, I'm just relaying the story because I found it very inspirational. And she said that she was forgiving him while it was happening. She told him while he was doing, forgive you, I forgive you. I forgive you through the whole thing. And I don't remember all the details and how it all panned out. I think eventually he was caught or something happened. But In time, they actually eventually became friends. She really did forgive him. And so there's how powerful and free we are. She chose in that moment to experience it that way. So that to me shows how powerful and how free we are. She understood her own power. She understood her own freedom, that she was could experience it any way she wanted to. She could have experienced it with total fear and total, a lot of different ways, and they would have been justifiable all the other ways. There's no wrong. But she
was able to go be free.
She was able to be free and choose how she was going to experience it. And we can change how we experience things at any time by simply changing our perception. So change your perception, you change your experience. And that's what she did, and that's what we can do at any time. If we change, and we do see it in our lives, when we change our perception, that's why over time our perceptions do change, and we start to feel differently about things. Where we used to hate something, we don't hate it anymore. When we used to see something as dark or this or that, and we change our perception over time, we have a totally different feeling about it. That just shows us how free we are. You are free to change your perception. In other words, change your experience at any time you want. And you can't get any more free than that. You are free of your own experience.
So powerful.
So I got a little bit on a soapbox, but I feel really passionate about that. So I say it as much as I can and whatever I can. And you see it, I'm sure, on my posts a lot, in my blogs a lot. I say it a lot.
But it's such an authentic message. It's not. It's one that I'm finding more and more to be out there. Is the fact, to me it is a fact. It is a fact that you controlled how you witness your experience. Just simply, not because somebody told me that, but because I know that now. I see it. I have the experience of that. And so if I have that key in my hand and I'm not using it,
Exactly. And so that's why I like to share it, because it's not a belief. It's a witnessing that I know this. I'm from witnessing and experiencing it. And so when I see people so disempowered and so many people suffering and aren't quite, haven't quite got there yet, they'll get there in their own time. I feel that move to just point it out to them. And when they're ready, they'll experience that and truly know it. But we are here to remind each other of things, and so that's what I feel empowered to, or moved to tell people. But you're right; it's a knowing. It's not a belief. It's just a witness, and you see that. Yeah, we're free. We're totally free to experience this any way we want to.
And it's a knowing, because it's not something that was spoon-fed to you. It was given birth to through you. The sudden experience gives you the knowing of it.
Like no one told me. I witnessed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the moment expressed itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and
so
the more we
know
this, the more we see it unfold in our life, where we can change. Because we all sometimes will get, the mind gets sneaky, and sometimes we'll get some ideas in our heads again, and we'll disempower ourselves momentarily, or get lost in thought or fear, and then. When you really live it, start to live it through your life, it doesn't take long or much effort to go, wait a minute, and just change your perception, and boom, just like that, totally different thing. Just go chill, really, just return to stillness, and that'll change your perception. Just stop the wheels of thought from turning for a little while, and get back to nature, or get back to stillness, or whatever chills you out, and gives you your Zen moment, and then you've changed your perception, and voila, you come back and you see it totally differently.
Thank you for coming on, Michael. We're going to get off in 15 seconds, so I got to say goodnight, and thank you so much. And I hope you come on again sometime in the future. You're a blast to talk to you. You guys take care and know you're loved because you are loved. Tune in next week.